I don't know how many times I've tried to record this video. It's too long. There's so much stuff going on. There's so much I've got to get into one video. I actually had to write down everything that I've gone through, like quick little memos that I can look at to do a quick recap of the last 8 years. So it's not going to be a short video, but it's going to be a quick recap, very, very quick. But it'll also give you an idea of what I've dealt with, and I can always make future videos on more in-depth things. So my whole cancer journey started in 2015. Because of abdominal pains and all this other stuff, I ended up going to Central Texas Medical Center in San Marcos, Texas. And they ended up doing an x-ray that found a golf ball size tumor in my transverse colon. So they admitted me and did a laparoscopic surgery, went in robotically. They took out 8 inches of my transverse colon, stitched me back up. I had little tiny scars at the time, which there'll be pictures throughout this video of my whole experience. From there, the surgeon and oncologist had diagnosed me with stage 2 colon cancer. So with that, I had to go see the oncologist, and I didn't have a job at the time. I didn't have insurance. I was 23 years old. Just moved out to San Marcos, Texas with my ex. And I didn't have anything I could do. So the oncologist up there told me to call these different numbers that are kind of like financial aid for cancer patients. I call the numbers, tell them my situation, and I'm told that they can't help me because my cancer's not bad enough. Because I'm at stage 2, I'm at a gray area. I'm 23, in a new town, just diagnosed with stage 2 cancer, but yet my cancer's not bad enough to get any help. So I can't do anything. So fast forward 2 years. I had been working. I finally found a job that had really good insurance, good pay. Everything was cool. Boom, I got to go back to the hospital. I'm not eating. I can't put anything down. It's bad. It is now June of 2017. I go back to Central Texas Medical Center, and they said it's going to be a 3-hour wait in the emergency room. I told them I can't do that. I leave there, and me and my girlfriend at the time went to Seton Medical Center in Kyle, Texas. We get there, and I barely remember getting there, and I believe I passed out because at some point the tumor had ruptured my intestines. It had burst through my intestines. So my parents, who are 3 hours away in Houston, haul ass to get up there, and they're talking about trying to life flight me back to Houston to go to MD Anderson. The surgeon said, "We can't stop you from doing that, but if you put him on that helicopter, he's not going to make it. We have to do emergency surgery now." So that's exactly what they did. They cut me from sternum to waistline, and they took out a grapefruit-sized tumor, 95% of my large intestine, a third of my stomach, and had to use 5 gallons of saline solution to get everything unstuck because everything was just so dry from the cancer. They stitched together my small intestine to what was left of my large intestine, and they stapled me shut. I'm now in ICU. I've got an epidural of fentanyl in my back. I've got one hand that's got an IV of saline and medications. I've got another IV in another hand for morphine, which I didn't take. And I'm in pain. Like, you can see it in these pictures. I was in ICU for about a week. I finally get out of ICU and get into a normal room while I'm recovering. And the doctors come in and they're like, all right, cool. You know, we can go ahead and start removing your staples. So no problem. They start removing the staples. And if you look at this picture, there's discoloration. And what we didn't know is because everything was so inflamed, it didn't heal right. So when they get to right above that discoloration mark, they pulled one of the staples, and I'm sorry if you're squeamish, but there will be some graphic photos in this video. They pulled one of the staples, and this brown liquid just pours out of nowhere out of my abdomen. I'm looking at it going, no, that's not a thing that should be coming out of me right now. The nurse is just frozen, doesn't know what's going on. So she runs to the doctor. He says it's okay, continue. So they continue. So I just wanted to interject because I'm in the process of editing this video and actually looking at some of the old photos. I was wrong. They didn't start from the top. They started from the bottom where they started pulling staples from. So that's what it was. They went from bottom up, not top down. Just wanted to throw that out there and correct myself. They continue to pull out the staples, and they get right past where the that discoloration is, and my stomach splits. So I'm going to show that picture right now. If you're squeamish or don't like blood or anything like that, please look away. I'll let you know when you can look back. But yeah, my stomach had split just like that. I'm just like, that's not good. What do we do here? I don't know. What's the plan? Nurse's jaw's on the floor. She doesn't understand anything, and they're just like, keep pulling the staples. To which they call in the wound nurse, and then they give me a wound vac, which is what this is. It's basically foam taped down to my skin with a vacuum line that when they turn it on, it brings fresh blood up to the surface and it helps heal it faster. So they go through that, and I'm dealing with that for a little bit. Well, the doctor says we're gonna do one more scan to see how everything's doing, but it looks like you're going to the bathroom just fine. So you can eat solid food, because until now I had been on a liquid diet. Go do the scan, go back to my room, and they're like, yeah, you can have solid food. So my brother, the only thing I wanted was a cheeseburger from Wendy's. So my brother runs to get it, comes back. I take one bite out of it, and the doctor comes in and says, stop eating. We have to do another emergency surgery. Where we tried to reconnect the large and small intestine together, it's leaking, and it's been leaking. We don't know why you're not septic. We don't know why you're not running a fever. We don't get it. And apparently what had happened is my body had encased the leak in like this mucus membrane to where it wouldn't get out into my body, causing me to get sick and or possibly die. So I get prepped for my second surgery now. This time, my third surgery altogether. Go in there and they give me an ileostomy, which, if you don't know what an ileostomy is, it's where they take your small intestine and bring it to the surface of your abdomen, and then you go to the bathroom in a bag. So they did that, and then they also installed what me and my mom called a juice pouch. It was a hose that went into my left side, back behind where the leak was, so it could drain the leak. So it was in there about 8 inches. So I had that. And now I'm dealing with a bag, a wound vac, and a juice box, draining thing, whatever you want to call it. I was in the hospital for around a month. It felt like forever. So when I finally get the okay to go home, I now unfortunately have to move back to Houston to start chemotherapy. Moved back to Houston with my parents. We talked to the new oncologist down here, and he said he wants to start me on Folfox, which is a combination drug of fluorouracil, or 5-FU, and oxaliplatin. So before that has to be done, I have to go get one more surgery to go get my port put in. So I had this one put in, this old one that you saw in the previous video. I had that put in around September, August of 2017. Once that happened, I started my Folfox therapy. I did 9 rounds of Folfox until December of 2017. At that point, we did another scan, and the oncologist said, "Hey, I don't see anything. I don't see any sign of the disease. So you got 2 choices. Take a few more rounds, or you can take a break." And after dealing with Folfox, which I'll go in more depth with all the chemos that I've been on in a different video, but after dealing with Folfox for 9 rounds, I wanted a break, so I took one. Probably a little too long, but I took one. Fast forward 2019, I had taken about a year and a half off from doing chemo. I started getting a really bad pain in my groin. I go back up to the emergency room. They found a lymph node that was swollen, and they did a core sample of it. They found out that the disease was back. I had to go back on to chemo. I started chemo back up at a different facility this time. I was going to LBJ, but I got right back on to Folfox. This time I did 8 more rounds of it. So in total I did 17 rounds of Folfox. And in February of 2020, I had a major allergic reaction to oxaliplatin. Unfortunately, with oxaliplatin or any of the platin drugs, it doesn't matter who you are, how many rounds you take, you will become allergic to it. It can be your first round, your second round, your 17th round, it doesn't matter. You will become allergic to it. It builds up in your system. It's weird. That day seemed like your typical chemo day. I went to the infusion center with my mom and my ex-girlfriend. I started my chemo just like normal. It's going to be about a 4-hour time period. Everything's fine. I remember starting the chemo. Everything's fine. And then a few hours in, I get up to go to the bathroom. And as I'm walking back to my chair, I started getting really cold, and it just kept getting worse and worse to the point where I felt like I was hyperventilating, just shivering and shaking. And then out of nowhere, it felt like somebody had taken a just burning hot knife and stabbed it into my spine and would just keep twisting it with every heartbeat that I had. Felt like my back was gonna break. My heart is beating a million miles a second. My blood pressure was through the roof in like heart attack and stroke zone. And the whole time I'm thinking my back's about to break. Somebody's about to break my back. I don't know what's going on. At that point, my mom had run in to check on everything because she knew something was wrong. She said my lips were gray. So they pumped me full of Benadryl and steroids, and I pass out. I come to as we're getting to my mom's truck, and I'm going home, and they're like, all right, that's it. You can't do Folfox anymore because you're allergic to oxaliplatin now. So they set me up with Folfuri, which is the fluorouracil or 5-FU and irinotecan. I did that for a while. It wasn't terrible. And then they asked if I wanted to add an immunotherapy to it. I said, sure, we can give it a shot, see what it does. So they added Avastin. Did a few rounds of that, and it kind of just stopped working. So they took me off of the 5-FU and the Avastin. They kept me on the irinotecan, and then they added a new one called cetuximab. At that point, until August of 2022, last year, I was doing irinotecan and cetuximab. And then my cancer level started going up. Didn't matter that I was on the chemo, it just wasn't working anymore. So they took that off and they're like, do you want to try radiation? I said, sure, let's try radiation. I did the highest dose you can take for as long as you can take it, which was 25 days. And it's every day, Monday through Friday, for 25 days straight. I do that, and that ends around the end of October of 2022 to November, like around that time is where it ended. And then from that time until September of this year, of 2023, I didn't have any treatment. I felt great. The radiation actually did something. It seemed fantastic. But about March or April of 2023, I started feeling pains. It would hurt to move more. It would be just excruciating sometimes. So that's when we talked to the doctor, and they said, we need to figure something out. And I asked them, why don't we try the cetuximab and irinotecan again? I handled that drug fairly well, and it's been about a year since I've done it. Maybe my body's not used to it anymore. Maybe it'll do something. So that's where we're at now. I'm back on the cetuximab and the irinotecan, and I've got 5 more rounds and then a scan to see if it's doing anything. Now, there are clinical trials that I could probably try, but I don't know if I want to do those. I just know that I'm going to try almost anything I can to continue on. So, in a nutshell and in a very fast recap, that's been my cancer story so far. At least me being in and out of hospitals and whatnot. I can do a more in-depth video on the chemos I've been on, the side effects and all that. I can do videos on whatever y'all want to know. How it's affected my family, how it's affected me, how it's affected relationships, whether it be a friend or intimate, whatever. I don't mind talking about this stuff. I know other people may benefit from hearing it, so I can also get people who have been around me, like my parents and friends and whatnot, to get their point of view on it. So yeah, like I said, it's a very fast recap on a lot of the things I've been through. There are quite a few things I kept out just to keep this video shorter, but there's more things that have, happened to me in the hospitals that, were kind of funnier moments. Definitely more serious moments. So yeah, it was just, like I said, just a quick recap because y'all were interested. But that's been my life for the past 8 years, from August 2015 to September of 2023. So if y'all want any other information, just let me know. I'm more than happy to do it. I hope y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. And until the next video, I will see you. Bye.